All right, so today we're going to talk about box plots. Our objective is to understand how to create a box plot from a set of data. We're taking notes, Anthony. Now, this is actually a 6th grade standard in the Common Core. It probably was covered in 6th grade, but considering who many of you had for your 6th grade teacher, chances are it did not get covered. That's why we are covering it now. And so we don't have any reference to our algebra book on this because, again, it's not considered an algebra standard from any means. So basically, a box plot has two components. It used to be called something else. Does anyone remember its old name? It was called a box and whiskers plot. And the reason why is it had a box portion, and then it had some whiskers coming out. It was always over a number line. Yep, you can write this down. The whiskers are the parts outside the box. Okay. So we have a box is obviously the box, okay? And can anyone tell me there's 3 values that make up the box? There's a value here, there's a value here, and there's a value here. What are those? What kind of values are used to create the box? Not mean, median, modes. Not necessarily. It's not necessarily integers. Think about the statistics that you guys worked on yesterday. One of them is what we use to create the box. Nope. That's a different part. Nope. Well, you've gone through 3 out of the 4. There is no medium. Median. So the box has 3 medians. Okay. So what you were working on last night was one set of data and finding the median of the data. Of the 3 medians, it's the one that's inside the box. So the middle median, is equal to the median of the data. Okay. The left median is the median of the first half of data. And the right median is the median of the second half of the data. I'm sorry, say again? No, it's actually broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. Okay. Now, the whiskers, as they used to be called, are basically, somebody used the word range because you were just stabbing in the dark, but actually they do represent the 2 numbers you would use to calculate the range. What are the 2 numbers in a set of data that you use to calculate range? The largest and the smallest, okay? So I'm going to write that up here. The whiskers the left is the lowest value in the data, and the right is the greatest value in the data. Taylor. Of data. Median of the second half of data. All right, so let's start with a set of data and let's find those 5 key points. Now, in the Common Core book that we've adopted, they called them the 5 summary points. I've never heard that phrase before, but that's what they're using. So first thing you're going to do is get a set of data. And we've got 83, 97, 85, 84. Everybody's writing this down. 96. 80, 80, 87, 91. So what's the first thing we need to do with this data? Yeah, we can't find a median if it's not in order from least to greatest. So that's our first job. So hold on. So what we're going to do, and this is how I do this systematically, is I find the lowest number and I cross it off. Then the next number, and I try to line them off so I don't forget somebody. Then it looks like 83 comes next. And then write it down. 84. Then 85. And then we have an 87. 91. 96. 97. So job 1, they have to be in order for us to find a least value easily, a greatest value easily, and our medians. Okay? So I can already note that these 2 numbers are going to be part of my set of data. So the least value is equal to 80, and my greatest value, actually I'm going to do it this way. Is 97. Next, I'm going to find the median of the data. So how many numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, 9.
Not too good counting, come on. So the number that would be in the middle
85.
would be 85.
Odd number.
Yeah, when there's an odd number of data, then your median is a physical number in the middle. Okay. Now what I want to do is find the median of the first half. And by the way, he has a different name. His name, and I've heard it 2 ways now, he's called the lower quartile.
Lowest quartile. I remember this.
Or he's also called the first quartile. And the first quartile now seems to be the new term in the Common Core books. But lower quartile is what we've been teaching for years. So what I'm going to do is look at how many numbers do I have in the first half.
4.
I have 4, because remember that 85 is not included because he is the physical median. So what I have to do is split this into 2 equal parts. So my lower quartile is going to be between 80 and 83. And so to figure that out, when it falls between 2 numbers, I just find their mean. So I just add them and divide by 2. So I get 163 divided by 2, which gives me 81.5. Okay? You're taking notes, buddy, not just strumming your fingers on the desk. Nope, you got to write it down. Now, same thing, we have 4 numbers on the right side, so I'm going to figure out the median of the second half. Do you guys remember what he's called? He would not be the second. He's the upper quartile. He's not the second quartile because the second quartile is the median. So he's the third quartile. Okay. So it falls between 2 numbers, so I do have to figure out the mean. So we have 187 divided by 2 is 93.5. Okay. It's those 5 key numbers that I use for my box plot. Now, here's the thing I need you to pay attention to. What your box plot is doing is it's taking your data and it's splitting it into groups of 2 numbers, 2 numbers, 2 numbers, 2 numbers. So all a box plot is dealing with is having the same number of items in each of the 4 sections. That's what it does.
So the 85 would be the split of the 83, 84, and 87, and 87, 91?
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of taken out of the contention because of the fact he is the median.
Okay.
So now we're going to draw a number line that goes from 80 to 97.
What would you do how
It would fall between them, and just like you did on the 2 medians, other medians, you would figure out the average. Now, because it's in between, every number leading up to that line is now considered the first half. Okay? So let's see, we go from 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96. And I need to go one more. 98. I draw in my key points. I put a dot at 80, and I have it above the number line. You're not writing it down, okay? And then at 97, above the number line. Oops. And then I have my median was at 85. My lower quartile was at 81.5, so about there. And my upper quartile was at 93.5, so about there. And then what I do is I create a box, and I draw 3 vertical lines through the medians, and I connect up to make one big box. And then I add my whiskers. Now, what you should notice is the boxes aren't all the same length. Take that off, please. And even though each of those sections represents 2 pieces of information, 2 pieces of information, 2 pieces of information, 2 pieces of information, the reason why boxes are longer or shorter, it's the range of the individual values in that section. So if you notice, you have 80 and 80. You have that's it on the bottom piece. It goes to 81.5 because that's your lower quartile. So you go from 80 to 81.5, very small. The next one goes from 81.5 to 85, so it's a bigger gap. You go from 85 all the way to 93.5. That's why you have such a long second or third box in this case, so third piece, second half of the box. And then we go from 93.5 to 97. So that's why your boxes are not all the same size, because it's all based on the range of the numbers of those 5 pieces. Okay? Now, each one of them represents 1/4 of the data, and so a lot of times what you're going to see them talk about is what percent is below this value, what percent is above this value. So the other thing to remember is that each of those 4 sections represents 25% of the data.